When Cupid gets the wrong arrow. And Cupid is a disaster. In the picturesque city of Seville, where the scent of orange blossom mixes with the sound of guitars and flamenco, lived Candela, a young lawyer with a brilliant mind and a charming clumsiness. Her life was a mix of trials, laws, and hilarious accidents that made her the queen of memes in her group of friends. Candela was an independent and modern woman, with a dry sense of humor and a passion for justice. She didn't believe in love at first sight, or in the happy endings of fairy tales. For her, love was like a legal case. Complicated, full of evidence, and with an uncertain outcome. But fate, or rather Cupid, had other plans for her. And this time, Cupid was having a bad day. It all started at the Triana market, a place full of life and color where Candela went to buy ingredients for her Sunday paella. He was haggling with a lady over some tomatoes when he suddenly felt a blow to the head. No, it wasn't one of those blows that make you see stars, but one of those blows that make you fall to the ground and spill all your purchases. The culprit of the blow was a young woman named Lola, an aspiring writer with an overflowing imagination and a tendency to daydream that made her a public danger. Lalo was so absorbed in his thoughts that he didn't see Candela and hit her with his bag full of books. After the apologies and laughter about the tomato incident, Candela and Lalo began to chat. They discovered that they had a lot in common, from their love of literature and art to their passion for Spanish food. The conversation flowed like the Guadalquivir in spring, and before they knew it, they had been talking for hours. Lola invited Candela to have a coffee, and she, surprised by her own audacity, accepted. The coffee was chaos. No, not because the coffee was bad or because Lalo was an unpleasant person. On the contrary, the coffee was delicious and Lalo was charming. The problem was that Candela was so nervous that she couldn't stop talking. She talked about her work, her friends, her legal cases, her allergy to dust, her fear of clowns. Everything except what she really felt. Lalo, for his part, listened to her patiently and with an amused smile. He seemed to like her whirlwind of words and her overflowing energy. At the end of the afternoon, Lalo walked Candela home. When they reached the door, Lalo stopped and looked into her eyes. "Candela," he said in his soft voice, "I loved meeting you. You are a very interesting and funny woman." Candela felt her heart beating like a drum in a marching band. She didn't know what to say. "Lalo," she finally replied, "I really liked you too. You are a very different person." "Different?" Lalo asked with a raised eyebrow. "Yes," Candela said. "You're like a character in a book that comes to life. I don't understand how you can be so creative and spontaneous." Lalo burst out laughing. "Maybe it's because I know what I want," he said. "And what do you want?" Candela asked curiously. Lalo approached her and whispered in her ear, "I want to get to know you better." Candela felt a shiver run through her body. She wasn't used to this kind of direct and sincere flirting. "I want to get to know you better too," she replied in a small voice. Lalo smiled at her and gave her a kiss on the cheek. "So, how about we go see a flamenco show tomorrow?" he suggested. "Sounds perfect to me," Candela said with a smile. And so began the love story between Candela and Lalo. A story full of laughter, clumsiness, misunderstandings, and a lot of love. Despite their differences, Candela and Lola complemented each other perfectly. Lalo helped her to be more relaxed and enjoy the present, and Candela infected her with her sense of responsibility and her passion for justice. But like any good romantic comedy, their relationship was not without obstacles. First, they had to deal with Candela's exes, who were not very happy that she had found someone new. Then, they had to face the opposition of Lalo's family, who did not understand how their daughter could be with such a serious lawyer. And last but not least, they had to overcome their own fears and insecurities. Candela was afraid of falling in love and losing her independence, and Lalo was afraid that Candela would leave her for someone more conventional. But despite all the obstacles, their love was stronger. They learned to compromise, forgive, and trust each other. and after a lot of laughter, tears, and awkward moments, they finally realized they were made for each other. One day, Lalo surprised Candela with a marriage proposal. Candela, who had never imagined herself getting married, couldn't help but cry. Candela and Lalo couldn't help but cry with emotion. "Yes, I do!" she shouted at the top of her lungs. And so, Candela and Lalo got married in an intimate and fun ceremony. The party was an explosion of music, dancing, and Spanish tapas. Candela and Lalo lived happily ever after, or at least until Cupid decided to take a vacation. But that's another story. The end.